You close the door. The noise outside disappears. Silence enters along with you. The body relaxes even before the mind understands. It's not laziness. It's not disinterest. That's a relief you can't explain. Just feel it, and feel it deeply. You look at your cell phone. Messages have not been answered, invitations ignored, people thinking you're isolating yourself. But nobody sees what goes on inside. Nobody realizes that staying home isn't the same as running away. It's about surviving. It's about breathing without needing to perform. It is to exist without being noticed. It's about taking a break from other people's expectations. Perhaps you've heard this before. You need to go out more. Go live. This is not normal. But nobody asks how you feel out there. Nobody asks how tiring it is. No one asks how much it hurts to smile when your heart is heavy. No one asks why their home has become a refuge. No one asks why silence has become a refuge. And you don't explain either. You just prefer to stay. Stay away from the noise. Stay out of sight. Stay away from empty conversations. Stay where you don't have to prove anything, where there's no need to compete, where you don't need to defend yourself. Stay where you can let your guard down, where the heart slows down, where the world doesn't demand so much. You might feel strange about it. Perhaps you feel guilty. Perhaps you think there's something wrong with you. But let me tell you something important. This didn't start now. This desire to stay home didn't come out of nowhere. It was being built gradually, little by little, silence after silence, disappointment after disappointment. What if I told you there's an explanation for that? That is not weakness, which is not coldness. That is not antisocial. That's psychological. That is human. That is an emotional response. A response from someone who has learned how to protect themselves. A response from someone who's tired of getting hurt. An answer that psychology understands very well. There's a quiet name for it. It's not just shyness. It's not social laziness. It's not a lack of love for people. It's a profound emotional exhaustion. A wear and tear that doesn't show on the body, but it weighs on the soul. And many people feel this way, without being able to explain, unable to name it. You like people, but he feels drained around them. You try to socialize, but something inside is holding it back. The heart is on alert. The mind never rests. The body is asking to leave, even before the conversation begins. And you ask yourself, why does this happen to me? Psychology calls this emotional protection, a silent mechanism, created to prevent pain, created to avoid frustration, created after experiences that caused pain. Expectations were shattered, relationships that demanded too much, environments where you needed to adapt, to be accepted. And that leaves its mark. You start to notice patterns. Invitations declined, messages delayed, plans canceled, not out of contempt, but due to exhaustion. Because being with people has become an effort. It became an obligation. It turned into performance, and it shouldn't be like that. Inside, short questions arise. Why does my home calm me so much? Why does everything feel so heavy out there? Why do I feel better alone? Am I closing myself off? Am I missing something? These questions do not stem from weakness. They stem from emotional turmoil, from someone who feels deeply, and keep everything quiet. The problem isn't loving staying home. The dilemma is the reason behind this. Sometimes home becomes a refuge. Other times, it becomes a hiding place. And the line between the two is thin, so thin that almost no one notices. Neither did you. And this is where psychology begins to look more deeply, not to judge, but to understand. This behavior doesn't appear out of nowhere. It is built, with minor disappointments, with expectations not met, with the feeling of not being seen, with the constant need to adapt. Until staying home, it is no longer a choice, and it becomes emotional relief. A relief that no one taught you how to explain. Psychology observes a central point here. People who love staying at home, they don't hate the world. They grew tired of him. They grew tired of the excess, from the constant noise, regarding the invisible charges. of unspoken expectations, needing to be okay all the time, even when they weren't. Often this starts early, in childhood, in environments where the child needed to adapt, being too nice, being too mature, being strong too soon, when there was no room for error or to feel. The mind learns one simple thing: staying quiet is safer. Over time, this pattern grows, at school, at work, in relationships. People realize that trying to please others is tiring, explaining is tiring, justifying feelings is exhausting. And then the brain creates a pathway. Avoid stimuli, reduce contact, seeking emotional control. Staying home offers that. Control, predictability, silence. Nothing happens without permission. No one invades without warning. Nobody demands quick answers. Nobody asks for better versions of you. At home, you can be neutral, and that brings peace. Another important point is emotional sensitivity. Many people who love staying at home, they feel everything in excess. Voice tom, environmental climate, gazes, people's energy. Everything goes in, everything weighs something, and the body reacts. Tired, feeling like withdrawing from the public eye. It's not weakness. It's an overly alert nervous system that spent too much time on alert. That's why rest doesn't come from parties, not even in crowds, not even in long conversations. Rest comes in silence, not known, not predictable, in a space where nothing threatens. It doesn't even require it. And that's how behavior is formed. No drama, no announcement. Little by little, people start to prefer home, not because he gave up on life, but because he learned it hurts less there. That's where your heart rate slows down, that she can exist there without defending yourself all the time. Imagine an ordinary person. It could be you, or someone very similar. It was a tough week. Messages, meetings, conversations that demanded more than they gave. Automatic smiles, opinions swallowed. The body held up. The mind, no. Friday arrives. An invitation appears. Nothing else. A simple encounter. People we know. Quiet place. But my heart aches. Not clearly anxious. It's a burden. An anticipated fatigue. The person is thinking about going. Imagine the outfit, the conversation, the effort to appear present, to react at the right time. Laughable when expected. The body is already responding. The chest closes. Breathing becomes short. And the silent phrase emerges, "I just wanted to stay home." She replies that she can't. Make up a lame excuse. Nothing dramatic. Turn off your phone. Silence returns, and something changes. The shoulders relax. The heart slows down. Breathing becomes deeper, as if the body were saying, "Thanks." She sits on the sofa. Low light. Nothing is happening. And that's exactly what brings peace. No expectations, no performance, no paper to support it. Just existing. Without being evaluated, without being compared, without being charged. But along with the relief, an unsettling thought comes to mind. Am I distancing myself too much? Am I closing myself off? Is this healthy? Doubt arises, but the body doesn't lie. He's calmer there. And that's confusing, because relief shouldn't come from the absence of people. Or should it? This micro-story repeats itself. No drama, without warning. Every week, every choice, every time you stay home when to leave, and the person doesn't realize it, which is not the sofa she loves. It's the feeling of not needing to defend yourself, to not need to be more than you are capable of being at that moment. What almost no one realizes. The fact is that this person is not empty. She's too full of thoughts, full of sensations, full of memories that haven't healed properly, full of attempts to be enough. And when everything becomes too much, the body needs to be collected, not out of weakness, for self-protection. From the outside, it looks like a distance away. Internally, it's about emotional vigilance. She observes everything, analyzes voice tones, Pay attention to subtle changes. It captures atmospheres that nobody notices. And that's tiring. It's very tiring. So staying at home becomes a filter, a place where nothing needs to be interpreted. This person thinks a lot before speaking. He reviews conversations in his head. If you wonder if you said something wrong, that was an exaggeration. He was bothered. She is not cold. She takes on too much responsibility for other people's feelings, and that weighs on us. Because living alert all the time, it's emotionally exhausting. What nobody sees, it's about how hard she tries. Try to adapt. Try to fit in. Try not to bother them. Try not to be a burden. Until you realize the effort never ends. And then, at home, she takes a break from being adequate. There is also a hidden fear. Fear of showing oneself completely. To speak what you feel. To be misunderstood. Of being rejected for being too profound. Too sensitive. Too intense. Then silence becomes protection. Not for lack of love, but because of excessive self-care. This person doesn't disappear. She withdraws into her home, not because he gave up on people, but that's because he's trying to protect himself, trying not to break down any further, trying to piece things together. And the problem isn't loving staying home. The problem is when that love is born from pain and not from conscious choice. Over time, this pattern takes its toll. Silent, discreet, but it's real. Relationships are starting to cool down, not for lack of affection, but due to absence. People interpret silence as disinterest. And the distance grows without a word, unintentionally, without warning. Self-esteem also feels affected. The person starts to wonder if it's too difficult, if it's too complicated, if there's something wrong with it, because the world seems to work better for those who are always available, always cheerful, always present. And that hurts, even when it's not said out loud. Important decisions become more difficult. Invitations become dilemmas. The simple act of leaving it requires energy that is not always available. And so opportunities pass by. People are distancing themselves. Unlived moments accumulate, not by conscious choice, but due to emotional exhaustion, due to internal exhaustion. There is also paradoxical loneliness. The person is alone because he needs a break from people. But he feels a lack of connection. She misses being truly seen, to be accepted effortlessly, and this conflict hurts. Why want distance? And wanting a connection at the same time, it's confusing, it's tiring, it's lonely. The future is starting to be postponed. I'll go later. When I'm feeling better. When I have more energy. But that later takes longer. And life happens out there, without waiting. While the person tries to compose themselves within four walls, trying not to fall apart, trying to protect themselves. None of this is weakness. It's a consequence. The consequence of feeling too much. For too long with no room to recover. But every pattern, however understandable it may be, it needs to be looked at carefully. Because excessive protection, it also turns into a prison. Even if it seems like comfort, you are not broken. This is important to say. You are hurt. There is a huge difference between the two things. Something needs to be fixed. The other one needs to be taken care of. And nobody teaches that. Most people just judge, or label it, or minimize it, loving staying home. That's not the problem. The problem is when to stay. It becomes the only way to feel safe. When the world starts to seem always too dangerous, too demanding, and you're too small for him. That's not who you are. It's who you've learned to be, to survive emotionally. Change doesn't begin by forcing people out, not even by forcing oneself to be sociable. This only creates more tension, more guilt, more wear and tear. The turnaround begins with awareness, realizing when you choose to stay because he wants to, and when you choose because he's afraid. This difference changes everything. taking care of this standard. It's about learning to regulate one's own emotions, respect your limits, without hiding from them. Create connections where you don't need to perform, where silence is not a threat, where your presence is not a burden. A few people are enough. Safe environments are enough. True connection doesn't need an audience. You don't need to become a different person. It doesn't need to fit. There's no need to harden yourself. You need to strengthen yourself from within, understanding their wounds, to give a name to what hurt, and to realize that the world, it doesn't need to be avoided completely so that you can feel whole. It just needs to be accessed, little by little, at your own pace. The turning point happens when you understand. Staying home can be a way to relax, but it can't be prison. When silence ceases to be an escape, and it becomes a conscious choice. When you allow yourself to go out without causing emotional harm, and when he turns, not to hide, but to recharge. That's emotional maturity. No retraction. Maybe I love staying home. It's not about rejecting the world. Perhaps it's about protecting yourself from him, about taking a break from everything that demands too much, about silencing what hurts, about breathing without fear, about existing without explanation. And that says a lot more about what you experienced, more about who you are than about who you are. Not all silence is emptiness. Some are healing. Not all absence is escape. Some are pauses. Psychology doesn't judge you for that. She observes. She listens. She understands. And when you understand, she welcomes. If you recognized yourself here, let me tell you something. You are not alone. And that's not wrong. You only learned how to defend yourself in a world that demands too much. And now you need to learn something new. Don't force yourself, but to take better care of oneself. With awareness. Staying home can be an act of self-love. It could be legitimate rest. It could be emotional recharge. As long as it doesn't become a hiding place. As long as it doesn't turn into disguised fear. As long as it doesn't push you away. The life you deserve to live. Because you weren't born just to endure. You were born to feel connection. The takeaway is simple. Are you resting, or are they hiding? You are choosing or avoiding it. Answer this honestly. It is an act of emotional courage, and only you can do that. No rush, no charge, in its time. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Turn on notifications. Here we don't judge behavior. We understand emotions. We translate silences and talk about what hurts with respect and depth. Because sometimes what heals the most, it's about finally being understood.